Hello, sir. Mr. Vieira. So please switch on
Hello.
your, yes. Yeah. Hello. Good evening,
Hi.
sir. Yes. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening, friends. Welcome to the webinar Decoding the First G Genesis. This is under the 5Gs of Family Business webinar series. My name is Meeta Dikshit. I am the co-founder and a family business advisor at Equations Advisors Private Limited. This webinar is hosted by Equations in association with the Institute of Management Consultants of India, Mumbai chapter. Happy to have you all here, our clients, our business owners, colleagues, friends, and our friends from consulting industry and our invitees. I'll be moderating the session and conversing with our special guest, Mr. Walter Vieira. Mr. Walter Vieira has co-authored an interesting and highly acclaimed book, The 5Gs of Family Business, published by Sage. It is my honor and privilege to be the co-author of the book and also introduce him here as my guest speaker. Mr. Vieira is a renowned marketing consultant. He has advised more than 100 leading business houses and prominent promoters on strategic marketing and management during his 50 years of career. He was the first Indian to start a marketing consultancy company way back in 1975. Mr. Vieira is a prolific writer and has authored 18 books on management, sales, and marketing, including the 5Gs. He was the chairman of the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes, a worldwide body, and is a fellow management consultant of IMCI. As a guest faculty, he has taught in renowned management institutes, including Kellogg's. A keen sense of humor and a repertoire of stories. That is what Mr. Vieira brings with him. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Coming to our session, family businesses are considered the backbone of Indian economy. And not only in India, but globally, in all the free countries of the world, family businesses contribute significantly to the economy. In India, we estimate about 80 to 85% businesses, whether large, medium, small, or micro, they are family owned and managed. Their contribution is incredible in terms of creating capital, jobs, and wealth. And the challenges are also unique. The most crucial challenge for family businesses is a shorter lifespan across generations. Yet there are families, yet there are businesses who have built a legacy which has lasted for generations. We know the names, so many names around us, most well-known names like Unilever or Ford Motors or Tatas and Birlas and Godrej at the home front. And then there are many others who have flourished across generations, 4, 5, 10, 13, and many generations. But they are few, they're not many. So the genesis or the origin of the idea of writing the 5Gs book came from our discussion. Mr. Vieira and me, we have had several discussions a few years ago, and we were discussing, thinking that what makes a family business succeed and survive for a long time. From our collective experience of 70 years, 50 years of experience that he has, and 20 years of experience that I have, the whole concept evolved. And our research on family business that led us to 5 core competences or 5 elements which are crucial for longevity of family businesses. These 5 elements are genesis, growth, gen next, governance, and giving back. Today, we are going to discuss the first G, genesis. And in the subsequent webinars, we will discuss other Gs as well. So, Mr. Vieira, I'll start shooting now questions. The first question, tell us about the first G, genesis. What is this genesis, which we take as first element of success in the framework that we have developed as the 5Gs and elaborated in our book? So please, your views on genesis.
Well, we put G, Genesis, as the first G, because it is, in fact, the first. It is the first foundation stone. Without that stone, there would not be the structure to be built later, brick by brick, stone by stone, cement bag by cement bag. All this happens later. But to begin with, it is G, Genesis. Without the capstone of a structure or the foundation stone in a foundation, nothing will happen. All the other four G's that we'll talk about later is subsequent. Without the first G, it won't happen.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's the foundation, and I think in today's language management parlance, if we say, then the companies, they ask themselves what is the purpose, or the families, they ask the question that why of our existence, why of being us. So I guess Genesis is the, as you rightly said, the capstone or the foundation pillar, and that pillar I think we tend to describe in terms of the values of the company, the culture of the company, the entrepreneurship, that is the seeds of entrepreneurship that evolve and grow in family businesses. So the first G, as you rightly said, yes, that is the Genesis. And without knowing, understanding, and absorbing that, uh, the families in business would not survive for long. So I guess that's very true. I remember, Simon Sinek has said in his best-selling book, "Start with why." So that people don't buy things because what you do or how you do it, but people buy things because of the why. And why is the core belief and the purpose and the essence of any leader or a company or the family's values in the business. And that why is what comes from the genesis or the origin. Sir, before I ask you my second question, I just want to share one thought here, or say a fact with our participants here. When Mr. Vieira and me, we were discussing about family businesses and why they succeed and why they don't succeed, this question came, or say this question we mulled over a lot. And he said, why do we want to write a big book? And the genesis of our book. So that also is a interesting phase that we went through, and we asked, why do we want to write the book? We interacted with several families, no, not several, I guess a lot of owners and the younger generation, and we asked them that, would you read a book on family business? And so if you recall, then you also had some interactions with younger friends of yours who are running the businesses. And largely we found the answer, and they told us that yes, we would like to read about family businesses, about others businesses who have succeeded or those who have failed, and we would want to learn from the lessons. And the lessons which business owners have gone through, when they share that with us, or you could share that with us, we'll really like to read that. And of course, there came a small little a statement would say that please don't make it very heavy, burden us with a lot of theory and concepts or so.
Sure.
And that's why our why writing a book became the book, which is full of anecdotes, which are not just the stories, but these are the real life happenings which have happened in our lives, in others' lives. And that is what we have brought to our readers, the 5Gs, which is full of anecdotes and real life information. So that is the genesis. Now, coming back to what you said, sir, about the foundation or the cornerstone. Now, in family businesses, the entrepreneur's generation or the founder's generation, when it starts the business, the challenges are different, or say they are much different than once the businesses are stabilized, established, and the environment also is much positive when the entrepreneur is out of the struggle period. The why of the business, or the genesis of the business, does it change when the business also grows, the family also grows, and the generations come in? Do you think that it is also as universal as we call universal truth or values, or does it change with younger generation coming in?
Sure, there would be change. It's only natural. You know, the founder is generally a very unusual person. Everybody cannot start a business. If everybody could start a business, all of us would have been in business.
Yes, that is
But,
true. Yeah.
but it is just maybe 25% of people who have the innovativeness, the creativity, the aptitude, and the attitude, and the perseverance
Perseverance, that's important.
to start and see that it is successful. And how do they do it? Because they find out what does a customer want or need. He starts with that. And he then provides what the customer wants or needs and becomes successful with this combination of, as I told you, innovativeness, creativeness, perseverance. Now, all these functions that I'm talking about are not transmittable to the next generation, and not 100%. And to the subsequent generation, even less so.
Even less.
And to the next generation, even less so.
Yeah.
And that is how it explains how Gucci,
Yeah.
who built such a huge business, although he was only a concierge in a hotel in Paris,
I see. The founder
the
Gucci
founder,
brand. Okay.
and he saw all these ladies, highfalutin ladies, coming into the hotel with these very nice bags. And then he decided that there's a big market for this. So he went back to Italy from France. And he started learning about bags, only ladies' bags.
Okay.
And he became a master at ladies' bags. And he started Gucci. And is what Gucci is.
I think it's
But,
number one. Yeah.
but then what happened? By the third generation, it could not be replicated. His ingenuity, his innovativeness, his creativity, his persistence. And therefore, the third generation Gucci shot by
Yes, internal
Who's-
family feuds. Yes, yes, I agree. That is a classical case of family feuds. Yes, yes.
and she is now in jail, serving a 29-year sentence. So that is why I said it can't be replicated. And therefore, we go on to the other G's, which is generation next. Can you really take it to Gen next and Gen next? And there are techniques in trying to do that. But Genesis, the first generation, is the first generation. It is unique. There will be a Jamshedji Tata. Can't replace Jamshedji Tata, even though
Yes,
Sir Ratan Tata and Sir Bharat Tata were great people. And they ran the company very nicely after Jamshedji died. But nicely. They grew on a plot of land that was given to them. They grew more trees and bought a little more land. But Jamshedji bought the first square yard of land, which the others didn't have to do. And it takes a different kind of person to do that. And the same goes for G.D. Birla and goes for a lot of other people, Mahindra, everybody else.
The one thing which I see here, and we have also written it in our book also, that there are few characteristics or which are, say, genesis, which the values. One is a value called, or say we call it as integrity. Integrity is something which we know the examples, several examples nowadays, all the feuds that are, or say frauds that are happening, they are integrity. We start with Vijay Malaya or any diamond frauds and stock market fraud nowadays. Harshad Mehta has come back to our memories and things happening. The issue here is that there are few things. One is integrity. Another is discipline. Discipline in the later generations that can be inculcated. Values of integrity can be inculcated, and compassion. compassion is something which comes, if it is there in the upbringing, in the family itself, then it percolates down in the family and as well as in the organization. So there are some qualities which families can pass it on and must pass it on to their next generations to see that their legacy is built and sustained. So maybe the founders' footprints are not seen in the next generation, but next generation can develop their own footprints. And say take example of Birlas or Aditya Birla or GD Birla from Aditya Birla and now Kumar Mangalam Birla. The footprints of GD Birla, maybe the times have changed. I mean, times have changed, business dimensions have changed. But still, when we talk about Birlas and Birla synonymous with growth and synonymous with clean businesses, so it's there, no? The footprint is there. So my question is to you that the world is changing fast. We all living in the VUCA world. It's volatile, it's uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and the uncertainties we are all facing it since last 6, 8, 9 months or so. But the world is changing fast. New normal which we are living in is become now never normal because the levels
Sure.
of normal is very
Sure.
difficult to define now. But in such scenarios, family businesses are also going through a transformation, especially the younger generation when comes over and takes over the business, or they would use technology as their preferences or as their choice. They would have their aspirations which are modern compared to the earlier generations. So many times there is a disconnect between what senior generation thinks of doing or say continuing the business, what are the do's and don'ts, and what younger generation thinks what are the do's and don'ts. So what do you think that how can younger generation also develop their genesis or build on the genesis and keep their values strong? Are there some ways that the younger generation can continue the legacy by seeing that the values, family values are strongly embedded and practiced? Um,
Difficult question, Meeta, because the world has changed so much. It's difficult for a father to be intimately connected with the children. It's no longer a joint family. Everybody used to live together. Everybody used to dine together. Everybody used to holiday together. Now, the little fellow at the age of 8 is sent to boarding school. A good boarding school, either Kodaikanal, Ooty, or abroad. So he only comes back on holidays. That time maybe could be budget time for the father. He is very busy with his own work at the office. He comes home only at 9 o'clock in the night. He sees his son only to daughter to only say good night and to show how happy he is that they are there. And how did they spend the day? Probably not even to ask that question. Now, they are exposed to this boarding school, to other students, to a different world, to maybe a world in England or in USA. And it's different from what it is in Jaipur or Pune or Hyderabad. And therefore, this pull of what you call genetic, this genesis, is not so easy to either impose or to cultivate. There are parents who take the time and trouble to give examples of, in conversations and stories they tell at home about how they implement their integrity, how they implement their compassion, which is sometimes shown even the way they treat their own servants at home.
True. Yes, absolutely.
That itself is an example to the children, that they are not treated as slaves. They are treated as among equals. May not be maybe second or third among equals, but they are among equals. They are treated as human beings. That is compassion. Fairness in terms of corruption. There are examples that the father may say, they wanted to, I'd applied for this license, but they wanted so much money that I decided I'm not going to pay this kind of money to get a license for whatever it is, telecom, whatever, big businesses. Now, this seeps into the subconscious mind and cultivates the children in a certain mind frame that is not lecturing to, it's not reading from, it is learning from my dad, my uncle, my grandfather, because he would not do it this way. Very difficult. I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and talk about it, but to do it actually in life, extremely difficult. But that doesn't mean it can't be done. For such brilliant people, it can be done. And people like Ford and various other people have set examples like that. The Rothschilds, for example, they went so far as to even insist that nobody can marry outside the family. So in every generation, they had to marry cousins, so that the Rothschild, the Rothschild culture would remain Rothschilds.
Right.
It would not be diluted with even a little water in this milk.
Absolutely right. But sir, this is also there in our Indian communities also. If you see, we have got communities, very distinct business communities. Parsis is one which you have given example of Tatas also, or Godrej, but Marwadi communities and Sindhi community and Gujaratis and Kachis and in South India also Shetty communities. So these are communities, and I remember I coming from a Gujarati community. There are clear-cut do's and don'ts in some communities where you will not bring in daughters or bahus from outside culture.
Correct.
Just that the whole genesis keeps on continue and keeps on going over, and children are also in the same brought up an environment, and they carry the culture with them. That is true. But I guess the question is, and I see here one of our participants has also put the question, and so then earlier the time was, or maybe 25-30 years ago, there was a time where we had joint family system, of course, which was carrying on for such a long time. But it was prominent, it was there visible, joint family system, where everybody, all three brothers and their children would all live together and participate in the business together. Now the trends have changed. One is the nuclear family trend has come in, and another is trend, as you said, rightly said, that the children are going abroad for studies. They are going and interacting from this young age with other nationalities, or say children or friends from other nationalities, and the world has become a global village. So this whole opening up of the window of the world, and families becoming nuclear families, what do you see? How do business families can sustain their values, their genesis, and and also, if required, they change at times? Is it something that one or two things that they do, or you have some experiences or examples that you have seen of two generations who have managed to continue their traditions?
See, as we said in the book, that 33% of family-owned businesses go on to the second generation. 13% only come to the third, and only 3% come to the fourth. So therefore, the answer is simple. Meeta, it is not easy. It is a very difficult situation. You were talking about, they go abroad, they collect their degree, and sometimes they come back with more than a degree. They come back with a wife also. Yeah. So all your business about, for the last 5 generations, we did not marry outside the Gujarati community. In fact, there are people who will not marry even outside Palanpur.
Yeah,
The
outside
Palanpur
Palanpur.
jewelers.
True, that's a diamond hub, yes.
Yeah, they marry only other diamonds. But that's gone now. Now people are looking also for pearls and platinum besides diamonds.
True, absolutely. So it's not just the diamonds, yes.
But you must appreciate how people even come into the second or third generation and inherit their family business and even change direction, like Azim Premji. How far he has taken his company, so far away from vegetable oils, which now remains only in the name Wipro. Now nobody even knows what Wipro stands for.
Right.
Because
Yes.
actually they are in the software and the hardware business.
True.
No
Yes.
longer in vegetable dalda, hydrogenated oil is no longer their business. And he has taken it to such heights that you could never have reached those heights by selling hydrogenated oil.
Yeah.
So people like this, Harsh Mariwala,
Yeah.
taken it from oil, from edible oil,
Commodity and a way, yeah, mass
to
selling and distribution and wholesale
mass
business.
branding, and then going into Kaya skin clinics, and now going into this water hydrotherapy in Prabhadevi and Andheri, and starting an innovation institute, which may be a non-profit organization, different, but making a contribution to the community. Same Mariwala family, with Mariwala values, come from a joint family, but changed his mind along the way. Made the mind modern, although physically he may look the same as part of the community, but given it a totally different direction to make it marigo. So there are among the younger people, I have great admiration for a man called Rajiv Bajaj.
Rajiv Bajaj, yeah.
How he has taken an already successful company, seeing the future of limited market for what they were already marketing, and insisting on going into motorcycles, much to the dislike and disagreement of his father, until his father just said, do what you like.
Yes.
And
He gave up and desperately he said, okay, do whatever.
Yeah.
But still that was, yes.
And he did what he liked. And look at how successful for a young man like him. He's really today's generation. And he has been therefore a fresh builder of an old empire. He has not gone out of the ambit of his business, unlike Azim Premji. He has remained in the business of vehicles, but he has changed the quality of the vehicles, the description of the vehicle, to give it a whole new run. And today, how prosperous he is. He is not bothered about the Indian market, whether you have COVID here or not, because most of his sale is abroad. His major
The
sale
global market, yes. It's no more,
global.
yeah.
So isn't it marvelous for a young man like that, Rajiv? And to defy a well-known father who himself was strong-headed.
To emerge stronger or say as strong as father from the father's shadow itself is a big challenge.
It's a big challenge. So therefore I'm saying, what you suggest is wishful, but doesn't happen. But I also want to supplement that by saying it can happen occasionally with the examples that I've given you. And it can happen even more successfully with the examples that I've given, to bring in even greater success than his grandfather had.
So, sir, this reminds me of something what we have mentioned in our book, and we call this as Genesis is the origin, the founder's origin or the entrepreneur's origin. But every generation, we need to produce, the families have to produce entrepreneurs. Maybe the different structure, maybe different way of bringing in entrepreneurship. And we have used a term called source code. Now, source code is the starting point, or say it's the origin. It's those who are in IT or participants who are from IT industry would understand very well what is the
Sure.
source code. And that is the code which makes us, people like us who are not software guys, for common persons like us to understand or use computer. So there is a connect, or say the interface with the inside and the outside of the computer, which makes us usable. Similarly, in families also, there is at least there is one source code, and because of which the families survive, continue, thrive, prosper for generations to generations. And say, for example, Rajiv Bajaj or Rahul Bajaj, and even the earlier their fathers, Jamna Lal Bajaj, yes. So from Jamna Lal Bajaj's time to Rahul Bajaj, and down the line, the younger generation would come in. There is a source code for the Bajaj family, and I think it is the pride. There may be several, I mean, the family would be defining, but as the persons outside, if you look at it, then that family is, we relate it with the pride of India. You know, it's an Indian company, Indian products, Indian innovation, and that they have carried on and they have become global. But it is something that is very indigenous. We can relate to that Bajaj scooter and the fancy motorbikes, all, but there is Indianness. Similarly, you gave examples of Tata's, or you gave example of Harsh Mariwala, and that's amazing entrepreneurship, which is completely in a different shape and structure and fabric, but still it is entrepreneurship. And that is where
Sure.
we call that that's the
Sure.
source code of a family business.
Sure.
The continuity or the prosperity depends on the source code, and each family has to find its source code. I mean, you're aware, and we do this with families when we interact with them and we take them through the vision workshop. The whole objective of the family's vision is to identify what is our source code, and that becomes an interesting exercise. So that is there. So I'm seeing the questions which are coming, but instead of having answering many questions, what I'm going to do is it's one or two questions which I'm going to ask you, and then the time is also running fast.
Sure.
Could you give us one or two do's and don'ts for the families to continue their values? What should they do, and what they must not do, so that their values are not diluted? Is there a message that you can give it to family owners who are here with us or who would watch this webinar? One or two things that the owners or the founders must do to see that their genesis or their values are continued.
You know, from being successful entrepreneurs starting companies, this would not have been possible if they did not have certain qualities. And those are the qualities I spoke to you earlier about. If they have those qualities with all this hard work and the perseverance, that itself will continue to be an ongoing lecture by example to the people around him. And this means to the people around him that the children are really children, and to the people around him when the children become adults and probably join the business, or are in other businesses preparing to join the business, or in specialities like becoming engineers or architects or whatever in preparation of joining the business, or doing something else, preparing themselves to start other businesses which they feel more passionate about than the business of their fathers. But you can never substitute the example of high integrity, hard work, perseverance, and continuous innovation to meet customers' needs and preferences, which is finally the key to successful business.
Correct.
At the end of the day, it's not capital and other things. It is finding a product or service that the customer needs and wants. And this will continuously change also. So as it changes, you must be sensitive enough to be sensitive to that change. And if you do all this, that itself is creating an environment for your children or successors, whoever they may be, sometimes nephews, nieces, whoever, adopted. Like, for example, the Tata level now is descendants of adopted children of the Tata family.
Yeah, it's not the genetically the same lineage is not going on. Yeah, right.
But they were brought into the Tata fold as children. And they grew up in the Tata philosophy, where 66% of the profits go into trusts, which go back to the public. Because Jamshedji Tata believed in trusteeship, which Mahatma Gandhi then carried a little further in his philosophy. So, if it is like that, for example, in the South, you know, the PVS group and Cholamandalam, they believe in total simplicity of living, in the way they dress, in the way they act, in the way they go about. This becomes then contagious. It's contagious, and like COVID, it infects those who are closest.
Yeah, and positively. In fact, your life increases. COVID takes away your life, here your life
correct.
increases. So that is.
So such a nice thing to happen. Now, you may or may not like such an austere lifestyle, or as austere a lifestyle, you may prefer to live like Gucci, or like L'Oreal.
L'Oreal, yeah.
Or like,
True.
you know,
or Malaya, Vijay Malaya.
Yeah. But many times it does not work. Mr. Vittal Mallya was an entirely different profile from his son. And Vijay Mallya's son may be an entirely different profile from his father as well. So again, as I was saying, the influence has not been there enough. Vijay Mallya has been also in boarding school. He has been out, he has not been around. And then when he came back, he inherited the money and the environment of a very successful company. And he was the only son. So therefore, enough to get totally spoiled. Which we always say, you know, if you have got only one child, don't spoil. Because if you had 8 children, there's no question of spoiling. Even if you were a rich person. Because 8 is 8, you know, they are a big team. You know, they.
Yes.
So this is what has happened.
So here, this is a message for the younger generation also. So when you talk about your family's values or family's culture or tradition or the fabric in which you are brought up, and when you want to make a change, then it's very important to understand why our traditions or why our culture has become like whatever it is, and then see that what you can tweak, what you can change, what is really good for the family and the business and the stakeholders. Think about it in quietly and with deep thoughts and deep thinking, and then discuss it or say give your ideas to senior generations. Otherwise, I see a lot of differences which emerge because younger generation has certain aspirations, seniors have got certain requirements, and they don't align. So aligning two generations' views, ideas, aspirations, ambitions is very important, and that alignment happens only when there is a rock bed of values and genesis. So
Let me just tell you, if there are still 2 minutes left, I'll
yes,
tell you
sir.
a little
Sure,
story
sure. Yes,
about this very famous industrialist in the United States who lives in Detroit, and he lives in got delayed one day in New York and went to the Waldorf Astoria. It was about, I think the last plane had left. This is old days, 80 years ago, 70 years ago.
okay.
And he went up to the Waldorf Astoria and he said, I'd like a room for the night. I'm taking a flight tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. So do you have any room available? So as he was writing the slip for checking in, he wrote there, Ford,
Ford,
Henry Ford,
yeah.
the second, I think he was. And as soon as the receptionist saw this, she called the lobby manager called the sales manager called the general manager. Suddenly there were 5 people who accompanied Mr. Ford to the elevator. And they took him to the top floor, to the presidential suite.
Right.
He said, my goodness, there was some mistake. I needed only a single room. It's already 8:30 now. And I'm leaving at 6 in the morning to go to the airport. What am I doing in this suite? So the general manager told him, sir, but your son always stays here when he's in New York. And Ford looked at him for a long time and he said, yes, my son has a rich father. I don't.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, that is true. Absolutely right. Yes, so this is where our genesis, our values.
That's right. Values
Absolutely
come.
right. So wonderful. That's really nice. I think so. We can just keep on listening to your stories and your experiences, but the time is running fast, and I think
and,
we'll have to now.
and people should actually read the book. Otherwise, there'll be no
Yes.
stories to read.
Oh, I think it's, yeah, 200 pages full of all anecdotes and very interesting and very apt anecdotes on our 5Gs in our 5Gs of family business. So for those all of you have not read yet, please do that. And here I would now, it's a time to thank everybody. Thank you, Mr. Vieira, for
Most welcome.
being here and giving
Always
us
a pleasure.
time, and my pleasure. And for all the participants, thank you very much. My special thanks to Equations and IMCI back office team to make this possible, this event possible. And please look for our invitation to our other G webinars soon. We'll be getting in touch with you. Bye bye. Take care. Stay safe.